This is the tiny Sigma 45mm f2.8 DG-DN contemporary lens. It's a little bit of a mouthful, that. It is part of Sigma's I series of lenses, which is their compact series of lenses for full frame cameras, which are ideal for smaller camera bodies, which is why I picked it up, because it is the perfect size for this, the LUMIX S9. It makes the S9 look so good, and I think it's just going to stay on my S9 almost permanently, because I think it makes it the almost perfect street photography, everyday lifestyle sort of camera, and it will be my go-to camera to just pick up and head out for a day, that's for sure. You can pick up the Sigma 45mm for around about £500 brand new, but if you look carefully you can get some great deals. I got this one off eBay in excellent condition for 210. It's built like an absolute tank as well. It feels like you could throw it against a wall and it would survive and do more damage to the wall than the lens itself, although don't go trying that. That's a terrible idea. Why did I even say that? Don't do that. It's not a good idea. It's just a solid little lens made entirely out of metal. It feels very premium and it feels like it could take a battering, as do most Sigma lenses, if I'm honest. They all tend to feel very well built. So the lens itself is super simple. It's got this kind of almost vintage look about it, I think, which looks great. It's got an autofocus manual focus switch on the side. The manual focus ring feels incredibly smooth and it's really nice to use. And you also have a clickable aperture ring, which is only clickable. You can't de-click it, but it's got this really nice clicking tactile sound and feel to it, which I absolutely love. Do that all day. So satisfying. I'm really impressed with the image quality as well from this lens. I've heard some people say that it's not necessarily the sharpest lens, especially when it's wide open at f2.8, but I really like the look you get from it. I'm not really into pixel peeping and looking at the sharpness of images in the corners and things like that. I've never really understood the need for it, because for me, if an image looks good, that's good enough for me. That's all I want from it, and I couldn't be happier with the results I get from this lens. That being said though, you are obviously going to get sharper results the further you step down your aperture, but that's going to be the case with pretty much any lens you will ever use. And in the short amount of time that I've had this, probably just over about a week now, I've already taken some of my favourite photos in a long time. It's just a nice simple lens for everyday use, and 45mm is pretty much perfect for most things that I shoot, because I tend to shoot pretty much everything around about 35 to 50mm. That's just my personal taste, because that's the sort of photography that I am into, but it's these focal lengths that tend to be around about the closest as to what the human eye sees as well, which for me makes my photos feel a little bit more real and natural. Really grim out there. The sun looked so nice shining through the window before. Just very quickly touching on the autofocus with this lens, it is very responsive. It runs pretty much silently, and when it is paired with the S9, you're getting Lumix's latest version of phase detect autofocus, which is really responsive and really accurate. Works very quickly. I've not had an issue with the autofocus on here. So for all of these reasons and the size of it, this is just going to stay on my S9 for everyday use and just capturing memories, taking out everywhere I go and doing a little bit of street photography and lifestyle stuff, because for me that is what this setup is perfect for. And the S9, filming videos of cats is so hard. But the S9 has got a little bit of stick since it has been announced just a few weeks ago. Some of it pretty unfair, I think, and for reasons that I'm not going to go into in this video. But for me, that's what this camera and this lens is absolutely perfect for. I do genuinely find myself picking this up first over my S5 II if I was just going to go out for a day and want to have a camera with me. Now, it's never going to replace my S5 II or the S5 IIX. I use those for 90% of things daily, but just to have a camera on me all of the time, this is what I would go for. That gives me a killer setup for both photography and video whenever I'm out and about, because you can get some stunning video footage with this lens as well. It's great for both photo and video. And the S9 is pretty much an S5 II in a much smaller body. I took it out to Manchester the other day. I stuck my headphones in and just walked and took photos and got video clips, and Manchester was just being Manchester. It was wet and cold, but it reminded me as to why I enjoy photography so much. And to have a camera in this form factor that is so powerful is so good. And yes, there are drawbacks that people are going to talk about. There's no mechanical shutter, there's no EVF, just to name a couple, but you can get past those things. They haven't really affected me. I don't use an EVF, and there's ways to get around the fact that it doesn't have a mechanical shutter. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. But those are for another video. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. But for me, this lens does start to make the S9 make a little bit more sense. And I think it actually is a very similar size to the new 18 to 40mm lens that Lumix are going to be bringing out very soon for the S9. So I'm very interested to compare this to the 18 to 40mm when that does eventually come out. So let me know your thoughts on this little setup. Do you like the 45mm lens? Do you like the S9? Say hello in the comments down below. And if you like what you see on this channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. And if you want to know more about the Lumix S9, I recommend you watch this video next, and I'll see you there. Cats. Sun's come out again now, and the cat's being quiet. Typical, innit?